could have possibly caught me. I mean, it was to get the parking lane to turn around.
Hi Gus, I didn't say hello to you.
Recording in progress.
Eileen?
All right, so it's good morning, good afternoon, Pete. All right, so it's 4/9, not 4/2, right? 4/9/24?
Yep.
I don't want to relive last Tuesday.
Unless you missed the eclipse and you'd like to take a shot at it.
Alright, time travel.
I watched it from my deck.
I watched it from Randolph, Vermont, because it took 5 hours.
Oh, did you go to Vermont and watch it?
Yeah, with the intent of getting to Burlington, but we planned an hour or so extra time. That wasn't anywhere close enough.
So Sean McAtee watched it on the slopes of Stowe.
Yeah, that was probably a good place to be, because they were in the, Burlington was in the
Totality.
zone of totality. Randolph was, we get about 98%.
Yeah, I think those guys, I don't think they were totality, I think they were close. But when they showed Burlington on TV, oh my God, it was awesome.
It was cool.
That was
Yeah.
very cool.
What's his name was broadcasting from up there? David,
Channel 5?
Yeah,
or-
Channel 5 had.
no, the network. David Muir.
Oh, really?
Well,
Oh, I missed
ABC,
that.
but the local Channel 5 was even
Yeah.
there, just so that, and they showed it as it went dark.
Right.
Because a friend of mine was in totality in Illinois, and she said, Eileen, everyone's LED lights turned on,
Yeah.
it went as if like it was dark, and then 3 minutes later,
Yeah.
everything came back up again.
Apparently the temperature dropped too.
Yeah.
It did, you could feel it
Yeah.
here.
What's weird is it gets darker, but it seems like somebody's turning the dimmer.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't seem to just fade. It seems like it drops and drops and drops. I don't know if that's your ability to detect how bright something is or what, but it was,
I'm waiting for the next one.
yeah.
2044.
Well,
Yeah.
technically, you could go to
In
Iceland in
Montana.
Just
2026.
another
Monty.
20, just another 20 years. I
Well,
think we
you-
can do that.
You could go to Iceland in 2 years.
Oh, they were interviewing some guy. He's like people chase tornadoes. Every
Yeah.
time there's a, whatever part of the world he
Yeah.
goes there. He's already made his bookings for the next several years.
Really?
We could go to Iceland, we could do a road trip
You
in
need
2026.
long-term weather reports, though.
Well, that would be a buzzkill if you went somewhere and it was raining. Like, I don't think Rochester, New York had a great view.
They interviewed
No, I
some
think it was
guy.
very cloudy.
Yeah.
They interviewed some guy who said, I actually was planning to see this in Buffalo, but the weather was lousy, so I drove
Yeah.
from Buffalo. That's not a small drive from Buffalo to Burlington.
No.
Oh,
It's like-
it's awful.
But that's what he did.
Bless him. Not my cup of tea. All right, are we ready? Pete, how are we doing over there?
Excellent.
Good to go?
Yep.
Good to go.
You good to go?
Yeah.
All right, then we are good to go. All right. Welcome to Tuesday, April 9th, 2024, Medfield Select Board meeting. This meeting will be held in a hybrid format. The Select Board will attend in person, and members of the public may attend in person. In addition, members of the public who wish to participate via Zoom may do so by joining by one of following options, either by the Zoom link on the town website under the Select Board, or you can dial in with the conference call number, which is listed on the meeting notice. Also, too, I think it's really important, anyone listening at home, if they want to click on the info packet and follow along with the paperwork that we have for tonight's meeting, please do so. Want to take a moment of appreciation for our troops serving around the globe in defense of our country. Thank you. Okay, all right, so we have no appointments as of right now, correct, Christine? We're jumping right into.
You're going right into Kathy.
Right into Kathy, okay, so we've got an action item. We're going 4 before 3. Vote to sign the agreement with Town of Hopkinton of Mass Call 3, Part B, a regionalized approach to youth substance abuse prevention. Kathy? Yeah.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I am just asking permission for a contract to be signed, which allows us to engage in a collaborative approach to substance use prevention. And this is our cluster. It's a community cluster of Hopkinton, which is the lead agency, Medfield, Medway, Holliston, and I'm missing one. Hold on. Who am I missing? Hopkinton, Holliston.
Medway.
Thank you.
Medway.
Did I say Medway?
Said Medway. I think you had them all.
Wayland.
Wayland.
Wayland, that was.
Wayland's
it
the
was
fifth.
one town that I wasn't
Yeah,
guessing would be
it's
on.
Wayland. It's 5 towns. And this grant is a 7-year, $250,000 grant per year. The lead agency has the, which is Hopkinton, that funding, the majority of the funding goes to them as they're allowed to hire a full-time coordinator for that position. And then the other towns that are involved are allowed to bill for reimbursement with expenses incurred for the scope of services that we are providing under this grant through BSAS. So that's my request this evening.
Okay. Pete, any questions?
No questions. Good idea.
I have one question. What is it that actually gets produced from this? What is the purpose, I guess?
Yep, so the purpose, as I understand it, is that we're looking for patterns of behavioral use among youth so that we can continue to regionalize our approaches to prevention. Much like a lot of the Board of Health and public health nursing is going, DPH is moving in that arena. There's a lot of funding to do that too. You know, it's very common sense that shared communities that are close in proximity to one another struggle with some of the same issues. And so instead of reinventing the wheel in each of those separate communities, we come together, we find collaborative approaches, we find best practices that are effective, and we apply them in our own surrounding towns. What's unique and great about this cluster is that we all benefit from the Metro West Adolescent Health Survey data. So we are comparing apples to apples across those 5 towns, which really helps in terms of data collection, interpreting data. Look, that's this phase 1 that we're in now, is to share data with each of the communities and to look at patterns of behavior and then to make inferences from that data as we continue to collect that, which would then move on to phase 2 and so on. So it's not dissimilar from the Drug-Free Communities Grant, which we're part of, which I have to say today was a momentous day in my office. We submitted our year 6 through 10 competitive. So I am like, we're all, now we wait. But that was, so it's not dissimilar to that, but it's a collaborative approach, and the funding seems to like this method of collaborative approach and collaborative intervention.
We've had some earlier discussions, so you know where I'm coming from with this. Is the focus purely on patterns of adolescent behavior, or does it extend to the adults that influence the adolescent behavior?
Yep, so I think that's a good question. So DFC is really focused on preventing youth substance use. While BSS is looking also at youth use, there's a lot of attention being paid to community norms, parental permissiveness, cultures in one home. So that is part of the area, the scope of surveys, to look at the factors that not only impact decisions to use, but also protective factors that keep people from using and youth staying healthy. So those are certainly things. And parent surveys are part of our data collection requirement through this BSS grant. Medfield's in great shape. We've already done a parent survey through our DCF work, but some of the other communities are collecting those now.
Mm-hmm. And then this is a broad request that I'm sure doesn't have anything to do with this, but only because it came on the heels of the discussion we had around the alcohol license at the Kingsbury Club.
Yep.
And not to point out the Kingsbury Club. The one thing that strikes me, we've had issues around, we've had requests for alcohol licenses for various activities here in town, and I'm sort of personally aware of how subjectively I wing my opinions on those things. And the issue is around, it's hard to get a real good handle. It's hard for me to get a really good handle on what things that we allow in town, which we would want to allow because it's for adults and it's appropriate for adults. When do we ever not give enough consideration to how the context for what the adults are being allowed to do is detrimental to the the adolescents who might actually also be involved in those things. So with the road races, we've kind of adopted the policy that if people are gonna drink beer at the end of their road race on a Saturday, it's not before noon time that they're gonna do anything that's sanctioned by what's going on. In the case, we had a discussion last week around, well, if the courts are mostly adults, but they're, at what point are there too many kids there for it to be appropriate to run the taps? And this is, so the broad request is that if at any time you hear me taking positions that you think I'm not considering things, I actually would like to get that feedback, because I don't really know exactly how to draw that line. I have an opinion, but I'm aware that my opinion is very subjective.
Sure.
And I'm guessing that's not something they're going to address through this, but it's actually something, after last week, I said, here you are again, sitting there saying, did you call it right? And so just getting feedback on an ongoing basis, if there's ever time it's appropriate.
Yeah, I would
quite
say
happy to get it.
2 things to that to help you with that feedback that you're seeking. One is that we're really excited that the Medfield, Jeff Morrison, the school committee, and Medfield Public Schools have adopted a program that we pitched to them called Raising the Bar. And Raising the Bar is optional invitation for folks who are at youth events to keep those events youth focused. And I think that's sort of the guiding principle of what you're asking, and what you were asking the night of the Kingsbury discussion is, if you are running a youth clinic, could we not run the taps that day? And that's what we're trying to continue to invite people to consider those things for their own selves, and to make decisions about their own behavior. If you're having a first communion party or a graduation party or something, do you as a parent or you as a host want to consider that a youth event or otherwise? And we would respect the right that people get to make these decisions for themselves. We're not telling anybody what to do, and I know you're not doing that either. And same with establishments. I guess you guys have the authority to decide whether or not establishments get to make that decision. But we just think sometimes bringing it even up to the awareness of, oh yeah, wait a minute, it is Halloween or it is a birthday party. Do we really need to serve alcohol when it's a youth-centered event? So we're just inviting people to think about that and then make those decisions as they feel appropriate for their personal life. But then these bigger institutions like Bell Forge has adopted that, and Medfield Public Schools have adopted it, and we're trying to invite, for example, some of the sports in town, we haven't approached these folks yet, so I'm not, but like the youth soccer and youth baseball, things like that, for them and we'll buy the banners and we'll hang the signage, and it's a way to sort of cultivate curiosity. Oh, what is that? Again, for people to start thinking about this, because caregivers have the greatest influence on their children's behavior. And if we can have parents think about these things and change their behavior, then that's effective. So as we get more and more folks to sign on to that campaign, I can share that information with you and let you know the feedback that we're getting from them, or the resistance that we're getting from them, depending.
But no, that'd be helpful, because
Yeah.
I mean, our concern will be public events, not private events. Although I think we've certainly private events in many cases probably are almost more important because of their nature.
Sure, sure.
Speaking as a parent who went to those things and thought nothing of popping a beer because they were available, and then after the fact saying, gosh, you tell kids not to drink and drive, and they just see every parent, virtually every adult at this event is sitting there, and they're actually staying beyond the time that the kids go off to the prom or something like that. And how are they getting home? All those cars out the front yard.
Right.
So it's like,
Right, so modeling is important, right? And so we're asking parents to be aware of that, and maybe waiting till the kids go off on the bus before they start their celebration. And again, it's people get to make their own decisions. We're just trying to bring education and communication to folks. But
thanks.
yeah. Sure, thank you.
All right, I'm thrilled that the grant got submitted today. I got the email from Kyler, so that's fantastic. It was a lot of work, so kudos.
Thank you for your help.
But I'm good with this, so if you're ready to read the motion?
Yep, I move that we vote to sign the agreement with the town of Hopkinton for Mass Call 3 Part B, a regionalized approach to youth substance abuse prevention.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Christine, continue on with actions or jump up to 2024 town meeting and?
It's up to you. You can finish out actions
All
if
right,
you
we'll
want.
finish out,
May as well
okay.
close it out.
All right, why don't we finish it out? So, all right, so action item 3, board and committee appointments and resignations. Accept the resignation of Mike Pastore from OPEB Trust Committee and Collective Bargaining Committee, which we know why he did that, because he's now our new town moderator.
Those are two positions, it's not a single committee, so it's.
So
I'm not-
OPEB
I'm
is
just- I'm
one,
not
yeah, and then collective bargaining
criticizing
together.
what you said there, it's just for people listening, it's not a single committee that's both OPEB and collective bargaining. It's
How
two.
long do you think it's gonna take before they have somebody to fill in for those two? Any idea?
Collective bargaining will probably wait until we talk to the warrant committee. Mike was actually filling a warrant committee seat. And then once he left the warrant committee, we were so far into collective bargaining, he stayed through to the end of that contract negotiation. So I'll talk to the warrant committee, but I believe they're actually prepared to make a recommendation shortly.
Oh, good, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Pete?
No problems.
All right,
No questions?
all right,
Ready?
motion.
I move that we accept the resignation of Mike Pastore from the OPEB Trust Committee and Collective Bargaining Committee.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay. Vote to sign the 40B Technical Assistance Award Letter from Massachusetts Housing Partnership for up to $10,000 to be used to pay for the consulting services of Paul Harvey to assist with the review of 441 Main Street.
You had already approved the technical assistance application. This is just notification of the award and to accept the grant.
Okay. Pete, any questions?
No.
Okay.
No questions. Okay, I move that we vote to sign the 40B Technical Assistance Award Letter from Massachusetts Housing Partnership for up to $10,000 to be used to pay for the consulting services of Paul Haverty to assist with the review of 441 Main Street.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Okay.
Good.
Want to do consent agenda and then jump up, since it's...
Sure,
All right,
as well.
so, request from Souls of Medfield New Life Furniture Bank promoting the 10K at North and Main on April 27th to May 11th. You good with that?
Am I? Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I move that we approve the request from Souls of Medfield New Life Furniture Bank promoting the 10K at North, the 10K race.
Because that takes place up at Belforge,
So
right?
the request, as I'm reading it here, it's a request to place signs.
Yes.
Not to have the
Okay,
race.
so I
yes.
move that we approve the request from Souls of Medfield New Life Furniture Bank to place signs promoting the 10K event at North and Main from April 27th to May 11th.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay. All right, now we'll jump up to 2024 town meeting and FY25 budget items. Number 1 is discussion and potential votes on remaining warrant articles 3, 16, 18, 22, and 31.
Correct. Those are the last ones you have not taken position on, and with the warrant going out to print, we're looking to get your position on those this evening.
Okay, so number 3 is the personnel administration plan.
Yes, and you have voted prior to support the budget with a 3% cost of living increase, which is what is reflected in Article 3.
Okay. Pete, any questions?
No.
Gus?
Don't have any questions for the public, Christine? I think we for a couple of years, we've been doing both a compensation and a structural review. That structural review is you sort of, I think, probably communicated to all three of us. We're not, this is a more routine increase in the current structure, so it's 3% increase. It's not the full-blown thing that we anticipated.
No, that was, prior to this, that was Article 4.
Right.
That has been withdrawn. We've received a partial report. We have not had time to fully vet that report or review it with any of our employees before we present it at town meeting, and I'd like them to have the opportunity to weigh in before we do that. And that is a full look at not only compensation with our market surrounding towns, but our actual classification system and how we rate our jobs. So it's a much more in-depth than our usual
So
one.
it makes sense to me that we would defer.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking anybody's listening, this is
This is just
kind of
our
what you
regular.
usually see for this article in the warrant report. So I don't have any questions.
Okay, all right, so I think we are good. Motion to approve.
So I move that we vote to recommend approval of Article 3, Personnel Administration Plan.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? All right, so now we move to 16.
And Article 16 is the capital projects municipal building. So you'll see in front of you, you have a copy, there's a highlighted at the top that has a full list of what the projects are that have been voted on for recommendation by the capital budget committee.
So,
You should
I'll give
have
you a
a-
page number, but I don't
Should
have
have
one.
separate.
There's another.
Oh, separate one. Oh,
and
whoop.
right in front of you.
Okay.
Got it.
Got it.
Highlighted.
This one. We have a separate
Yeah,
one?
there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
we do.
there you go.
Okay.
So Article 16 represents the municipal building projects, high school, middle school, Dale Street, Wheelock Memorial. I just wanted to draw your attention, there are two items in here that are outside of our typical what you see as town buildings. One of those is the Kingsbury Gristmill, and we are looking at a roof replacement. They have received some grant funding for the project, but not enough to complete it, so we're gonna use the municipal building stabilization for that. There is also some water maintenance work, I would call it, some sump pump issues we have at the Dwight Derby House that we are using the $10,000 for. And then I'd like to draw your attention to the Tri-County assessment, which is under town and school. And that this year is $6,147, but that is our assessment for this year for the new Tri-County Regional Vocational Technical School.
Oh, I see.
And that will jump up. That is just our capital assessment for the first year. We anticipate that'll be around $20,000 moving forward. And the Capital Budget Committee has voted to have that come out of the Municipal Building Stabilization Fund going forward.
And when we see something like this, Christine, it can take a year or two before we actually act on some of this. Like, and why, the reason I'm asking is I know we did like 150,000 for the high school tennis courts, and we haven't seen any action there only because they're out for procurement and all that.
Yes, and the amount of money that was originally appropriated for that project was not enough. There's more money in the capital project for this year for that project, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But yes, on average, they're 1 to 2 years out.
Okay.
Pete,
Pete, any questions?
No, I'm good.
So I'll start with abbreviations to make sure I know what they are. AHU is air handling unit.
Correct.
RTU is
Rooftop unit.
Rooftop unit.
unit.
Yep.
Okay, I think that takes care of a lot. Well, why don't we do about VCT under Blake Middle School? Variable control.
Asbestos.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the first.
For making a lighter to something.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the first question I had. The district-wide resurfacing of school parking lots, is that all of the school parking lots, or?
Do you have Amy's list of what parking lots that includes?
I believe that funding is just for one project. And they were still identifying which, let me just double check here.
It was just an information question. It's not I'll either vote for or against it, depending on your answer question. I just was wondering. 250,000 on the, off the top of my head, sounds like a low price for all of them.
No, I don't think it's all of them.
Yeah, it's just for one project, and I don't believe they've identified which
Yeah,
school
Which
yet
school?
would be.
They're going to have a multi-year project for
Got
them.
it, okay. And then, I think the only other question I had, no, two more questions. The basketball court repair for public safety. This is the basketball court behind the police station, and I'm trying to remember who we said owned it. Was the public,
No, it's us. It's the select board.
Okay, so.
Yeah. It's listed
It's
under public safety
safety,
because
but
it's
okay.
at their location, but
Okay.
it's, no,
But it
you are the
actually
proud
is a
owners
town
of
owned.
it.
I just,
Court.
you know, my memory can be flaky enough as it is that when I think I remember something being one thing, and then I see it showing up as the thing I used to think it was until I thought it was something else. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah,
Now I
no,
understand.
it's
That's just
location.
That's a locational cue.
One run
Then
some
the,
plans?
that,
One run some plans?
Work on that when we did the public safety building?
and then the only other question I had, and this is consistent with the comments I had at our prior meeting with the SOI going in for the schools. Do we have assurance that these are the expenditures that we anticipate we will need, that we will not see significant emergency repair reports, particularly for the Dale Street School in the coming year?
That is what has been presented to the Capital Budget Committee.
Okay. So if those things came up, unless it was a Martian invasion, nobody could have anticipated.
Right. They have
We
to be
shouldn't see
true,
it.
true emergencies.
Okay, I'm good.
All right.
Let's see, ready? Okay, I move that we recommend approval of Article 16, capital projects, municipal buildings.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay. Now we move to 18. Let's see.
Okay. Article 18 is the capital budget, non-buildings.
All right, so I got that one. Oh, there we go, okay. So capital budget, okay. Any questions with any of those?
Chris, what's the pavement management program? Is that the thing that Mo's doing to know what all the streets are doing?
That is correct. So he has the pavement management plan identifies where he will do his work for the year. So we've appropriated $185,000 towards that this year.
So is that the sort of hit that we're gonna take every year to update that program?
We're not updating the program. This is the actual work,
Oh,
the actual street work.
oh, all right.
Yep.
And this is the street work, this is not sidewalks, this is street.
This is just street work. And this is in addition to the Chapter 90 funding we have available.
The police motorcycle, a Harley?
I will leave that and defer that to the chief to answer.
I thought you were gonna ask about the taser.
I was gonna ask if it was an Indian, but I figured it probably wasn't, so. Yeah, what improvements to our tasers are we doing with the update?
We are purchasing new tasers.
Oh, I was thinking, this one will knock down an elephant if necessary.
You good?
Just finishing up the. I think I am, yeah.
So I just have a question on the Parks and Rec, the paving projects for Hinckley parking lot and McCarthy Park driveway. Are they, so Hinckley's been a dirt parking lot for as long as I can remember. Are they actually going to pave that?
Yes.
Really? Finally, after,
Yes.
50, 60,
The problem
70
is it's not an ADA parking lot. We are building a brand-new, almost $1 million Hinckley playground, $750,000 playground that is ADA accessible. It only makes sense that we have an ADA accessible parking
100%.
lot to get
No,
to that.
that's fantastic.
I think
Okay.
it will also improve stormwater management in that area with Hinckley Pond there as well.
Okay, fantastic. And then the lighting at Metacomet, tennis courts, the ones right now just subpar?
Yes, they're not working properly.
Okay, got it. All right.
That was the state money that we lost, was it?
We lost half of it, and we are funding the rest of it with capital stabilization fund money.
Okay. All right, I think we are good.
I move that we vote to recommend approval of Article 18, capital budget, non-buildings.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, against? Okay, now to 22, which is,
22 is the fiscal year 25 water and sewer enterprise fund budget, which should be in your packet as well, that's highlighted. This budget has been reviewed and approved by the Board of Water and Sewerage.
okay, expenses, operations. All right, Pete, any questions?
What sort of reserves are they running now as a percentage of their budget? Do you guys know?
I don't have that off the top of my head, do you have that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Reserves as a
Just wondering
percentage
the
of their budget.
percentage, the reserves, if you know what percentage of their budget that is. How much reserves are they keeping?
So they have a $100,000 reserve, and their total budget is about.
But they have a capital reserve that's a lot bigger than that.
Oh, their retained earnings. Oh, like I'm sorry.
Total reserves for
I want to say they're both sitting around $700,000 to $800,000 right now. I can get the exact
I thought it
figure.
was a lot more than that, but that's just from memory.
For water, these were certified by the DOR in October. For water, it's 811,000, almost 812. And for sewer, it is 778,000.
Yeah, so it's close to $1 million for each one of them. Okay, thank you.
I know I've seen this, I think somewhere, do we know what the growth in those two budgets was for FY '24? I think I've seen it somewhere, I thought it was 3% or,
And then it's the increase in the offset costs.
oh, that's, you're right.
Yeah, I think
that's
you're
what
looking
thought.
at you saw the increase in the
Yeah,
offset.
I'm just curious what the budget change was from the prior year.
So last 24, we approved 1.9 million, 1.94.
That's water.
And then in 25, we are at 2. Yes.
I have to look, I don't have last
About
year's
a-
budget
so
in
it's
front of me.
less than $500,000 up. But that's $500,000 up. Big jump. If I'm doing my math right.
Yeah, we can get you the percentage before we finish this evening.
Yep.
Okay. And that was sewer or water you just quoted?
That was sewer.
Yeah.
Get water.
There's a picture of the new water treatment plant, and I don't remember where I saw it now, but they said it was almost finished. Is that something the select board can take a look at?
You're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony the week of town meeting.
Okay.
Yep, we're shooting for that Thursday.
Gus, I'm sorry, I'll get this for you right away.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious, I'm happy to approve it, but I would like to kind of know what the percentage, right now I'm looking and saying, so the percentage on, it's between 20 and 25% increase in the budget on sewer. I am kind of curious about why that big an increase would, undoubtedly there's good reasons, but I'm kind of curious what drove that. That's a pretty big jump.
And we can also send you the minutes of their meeting where they discuss their
Okay.
budget. We'll get that
So
for you as well.
I'm happy to recommend approval, but if I were a citizen, I might be curious about that. If I'm paying why a 25% increase in sewer budgets, I assume I'm gonna wind up paying for it at some point. Although it could also be growth or something, I don't know. Same thing for water.
Borrowing for the treatment plant?
That
No,
should have been capital, this is kind of the operating budget, so I don't think so. Unless there's a big chunk of money that's driving the growth, it's all capital.
This is sewer, you said.
This is sewer enterprise, yeah, this is the sewer operating budget. If it's 2.371 this year, up from something like 1.9 last year, it's like, that's, $471,000 jump on a less than $2 million. Sounds like a big number to me, but
so last year's sewer enterprise fund total was 2173895.
oh, okay, so it's not 1.9, 2173.
Yeah, and then on water, we had, the
Okay.
total for water was 3240787.
Okay. Okay, so
For the
now I
total.
really don't have any questions. Okay,
Yeah,
good enough,
Okay.
got it.
that's the total, yeah.
Okay,
I'll let you motion.
I move that let's see, let me make sure I got the right number here. I move that we recommend approval of Article 22, the FY 2025 Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund budgets.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye, aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay. All right, and we move to 31.
Now 31 is, let me just pull this open right now.
The MBTA
31 is the
communities?
MBTA, and I just want to have a formal vote taken. You did vote at the the joint planning board, select board hearing to support this, but I'd like you to have a vote at your meeting
Sure.
to reflect that you're supporting what's in the warrant.
Pete, any questions?
No, I just, again, compliment the planning board on what a great job they did in putting this together.
Yeah, I concur on that.
Yeah, I'll absolutely say that. And even just the time that Maria coming into this, she's not even, 1 year on the job, and just amazing, everything she's been able to cover. So kudos to planning, kudos to Maria and the whole staff.
I would add for that one too, the handling that she did of the online public meeting was
Outstanding.
masterful. So,
Yeah, agreed.
that was, I wasn't expecting that good a performance from anybody around here on that
Wow,
one.
she was great.
It went really well.
It was great.
So, okay, I move that we recommend approval of Article 31, the MBTA Community Zoning District.
Second,
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against?
All right.
All right, that closes out.
That closes that. The only action you have is to vote to sign the 2024 annual town meeting warrant to be posted.
Okay. Ready, Pete?
yep,
Okay.
I move that we sign the 2024 town meeting warrant.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye, aye.
Against? Okay.
Isn't there something we can come up with to make it harder for Mike to run his first meeting? Isn't there some sort
I'm
of?
trying.
All right, so now we jump down to citizens' comment. And I don't see any. We already did the consent agenda, meeting minutes, February 6, 2024. I think I approved those already. Pete, where are you with the February 26th?
I think I'm up to date on all the minutes, so
I
I'm
think
ready.
I think I've already gone through them all. I don't know that we voted to approve. We may not have voted to approve them because we never got there.
Right.
But I think the comments were all in my case, the comments were all minor wordsmithing. It wasn't even
Changing your name
anything
and not
close.
my name.
Yeah. I think you caught that one.
Well, I think
So-
one of the things I caught is they said something about us approving something regarding the streets. I just clarified, we hadn't approved the intersections yet. We had seen
Yeah,
the
yeah,
suggested
yeah.
intersections, but we hadn't approved it.
Yeah, there was the design of the intersections.
Yeah.
That hadn't been.
Yeah, if you read the minutes, it looked like we had approved it, and I was like, no,
Right.
no, we had not.
All right, you want a motion?
All right,
I recommend that we approve the February 6, 2024 meeting minutes as amended with the edits that were put in our review.
Second,
all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? All right, town administrator updates.
I have none, other than we're meeting weekly. We are in the final stretches of getting the warrant report out, so I would ask everybody to keep an eye out for that in their mailbox, and get back to them shortly.
Okay. Next meeting date, so next Tuesday, we're meeting April 16th.
And then we're meeting April 30th.
We are meeting April 30th?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have our annual town meeting, May 6th, and we'll meet probably an hour before that. Okay. All right, so select board member reports, Pete?
I had two Medfield Foundation meetings, one for the Legacy Fund where we were going through the 9 people that had applied for grants from the Legacy Fund, and we selected 5 of them to come to the Pitch It, which will be later this month, which is our where people come and do a presentation in 10 minutes or so of what they're looking for the funds for. And then the Medfield Foundation had a meeting last night, and we met with a consultant who seemed very adept. So that's it for me.
Excellent. Gus?
And I had the Community Choice Aggregation Committee's been busy getting things rolled out. There was Bob Winograd has been taking care of getting signs and materials out. There was a weekly call. Neither Bob nor Megan know that I was on it because I was the unidentified phone dial-in because I was on the road, and I discovered that if you dial in on a Zoom meeting, I guess the first time I've ever done it, you're muted, but especially when you're driving, there's literally nothing you can do to unmute yourself. So people will see a phone number and wonder why someone is anonymous and refuses to participate in the conversations. And I got to send a message off to the two of them that said I was the unknown number that was on the call. But in yesterday's call that they had, yesterday's call, they were primarily focused on getting the presentation materials for the the public information meetings that are being scheduled, and it sounded, as I was driving up the road, it sounded like the materials are already in good shape, but there was some, fine tuning that they were doing, which was pretty good. So that was that. This morning, the MBTA Advisory Board, which I'm on, it doesn't affect us that much compared to the mayor, the mayors and town administrators from some of the towns that are closer into Boston and that have maybe in subway and commuter rail. But the director, executive director of the T was there. I gather that that's not been necessarily the kind of engagement that past directors have had with this advisory board, so everybody was happy to hear him there. It sounded like he had his handle on most of the specific issues affecting the T. He got a couple of inputs from various towns that were concerned about construction projects that were disrupting them, and it was good to see he seemed to know about the situations in at least one case of the most significant one. He had already taken action where they had modified their plans to address the issues that were being raised, so it sounds like he's on the ball on that. The one thing we didn't talk about a lot was, I think there's still a lingering financial overhang that's going to affect the T. That wasn't a primary, it was talked about, but not really in the dire terms that past meetings have covered the fact that the T could run out of money within a couple of years. He's only been there for a year, so perhaps he hasn't had time to fully grasp some of the financial issues. I don't know. I doubt it.
He seems pretty smart.
Yeah, no, he came from the Long Island Railroad, so he's got some good experience.
And he's very direct, and
Yeah.
he just admits when they screw up and says, we'll do better, basically. I'm very impressive.
Yeah. So anyway, that was, it doesn't directly affect us in the sense that there's people that have far more skin in the game, I think, than we do. But it's nice to hear what they're up to.
But it feels like it's being well run now by him.
Well, or the people running it are telling us that they're being well run. I'd say, there's challenges, but he seemed to understand that.
There's a lot of financial challenges with.
He seemed to be on top of the red line, orange line, train car replacement issues, which is, I think, a big deal. That potentially it's a big deal. So anyway,
How do you build a green line out to Arlington and build it with the wrong rail widths so that you can't go the right speed? I mean, it's just
not
unbelievable.
Arlington. It's the red line that goes to Arlington,
No, it's the green line extension, I think.
not to Arlington.
Yeah, the rails were set at the wrong width.
There was one that was set, but I don't, unless it
It was
was.
the green line that used to stop at Leechmere, but now goes out to.
Oh, I'm thinking the one down at the end of Route 2.
There was litigation back before I was in law school, over that green line update, those cars that,
Articulate.
in the middle.
Yeah.
There was something about the design of those that led to multi-million-dollar litigation.
Well, there was
so-
also something about they just laid the tracks at the
Right.
wrong
Yeah,
level.
Past year, that was, yeah.
And I recently learned that the reason that the rails are the width that they are has to do with Roman chariots.
Right.
I can't believe that that's
True.
where we got this whole thing.
That's true. Yep.
All right.
There's a good joke about that talks about the fact that they were following two horses' asses, but it's a historic joke. So I think
It's a West Point engineering joke.
Well, yeah, we could allude to it in a public meeting, I think, given the historical context of the width of railroad track.
Sounds better in Latin.
I bet it does. So that's all I have.
All right, fair enough. All right, so I sat in the planning board meeting last night to listen to the Garrison development discussion, just to see if there are any neighbors that had any questions. But there was nothing that came up, so they passed that. I had a chance to have some exchanges with warrant committee members regarding the dog control bylaw, which is good, just to answer some questions. I had a very nice meeting earlier today with our new town moderator, Mike Pistori. So he gave me some updates as to, his excitement around kicking off our town meeting on May 6th. And something I really appreciated with him is he's really trying to draw as much attention to town meeting as possible, right? He just would love to see a lot of the new residents appreciate a New England town meeting, what it's all about, why it's important that they attend. So it was just a really nice meeting. And then, kind of ironically, we had the Kingsbury Club Management team here last Tuesday night. As I had commented to them, I tend to play on Wednesday afternoons. So I went into the ice house after I played pickleball, and the 4 managing partners were there. So I had a chance to go over and introduce myself to 2 of the gentlemen I hadn't had a chance to meet before. They were extremely appreciative of Chief Garrett and everything that she has done in terms of giving guidance, giving input. Appreciated the candid guidance that they got from our board last week. And they said, any concerns you have, anything you want to continue to bring forward, they see how concerned we are for not only them doing it right, but in protecting the residents of Medfield. And a couple of them live here in Medfield, and they're like, Eileen, we're not trying to do anything to endanger anyone. So, like, one of the things I picked up on when I was there earlier in the day for PT, I happened to be at the front desk, and Bill, one of the gentlemen that was here, Bill, Bob, and Brad, I said, hey, can you show me the camera? And we looked at the camera, and then he went to go show me another view, because I was asking if I could see how far into the couch area. But then he went to go back to try to find the camera of the taps, and he couldn't find it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of advice. You might want to mark that really big and broad, so that if somebody needs to see it, they see it, especially if someone wants to come by and oversee their facility. So again, super responsive to that. And then I will throw this out there for any residents that are watching the meeting live. Bill, you're here right now, and anyone that may watch this later. One of the things I want to make sure that residents realize, as the chair of the select board, I've got a town email address, emurphy@medfield.net. If you have any questions, I had someone ask me something about where the Donut Express parking lot is, so I made a call to that management group today. I'm having a dialogue with the owner just regarding kind of coming and going from that parking lot, because people like to enter where they're supposed to enter and then exit where they're not supposed to exit, which is really dangerous on 109. And the owner could not have been nicer, could not have been more responsive, and he too was concerned with some things. So I've already reached out to the planning board. But if
That sign is backwards, because the sign that says enter only is facing the street.
Right.
And it should face the people who are trying to exit, leaving the parking lot.
No, he agrees with that. So they're actually still doing some updates to that parking lot. And he said, yeah, do not enter should be right there, right? But they're challenged with that cut-through road, because people are coming down, and then since they can't make the turn to the right that easily to go out the exit, they go all the way down and just exit the entrance. So when you come down that hill, leaving what Chipotle is now, to take that turn, if you're a truck, if you're anything, it's a tight turn. Right, so now they're
Do it all the time. It's like, it's not right.
so there might be a recommendation there.
The truck would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the truck would be.
So I mean, I threw it out there. People can comment on this. That the concern of the citizens with Chipotle going in there was the traffic coming and going. So if that road was to be made one way, you can go up it, but you can't come down it. That prevents that. And I had suggested if they painted arrows, so that you shouldn't be going in the back way, right? If once you pull in, go around, so you're exiting where you're supposed to exit. He was extremely open and couldn't have been nicer. But if there are questions that residents have, certainly email and say, yeah, I have a question of why does the following occur? I don't mind making the phone calls. I learn along the way. I get to meet some of our business owners. So I leave that out there to anyone who has any questions. I can't promise you I'm going to get you an answer you like. I'm not going to promise I'm going to answer I like, but I'll get an answer. So I think other than that.
One quick question for you. On the planning board meeting with Garrison Path, where does the town stand with regard to the question of easement? Is it in there? Is it not in there?
It's not in there because as it was explained to me, when that plan was brought forward, it was not in there. They're not going to go through the steps to alter that right now for the development. The developer's not opposed to it, but it's going to be up for us to bring it forth to have to request it formally. But when it was put down as the original plan, our request was not there, and
Okay, so when we say we have to do that, that's the select board needs to, or
You've
the town?
authorized me to have those negotiations.
Okay, so the plan for that is to basically pursue getting that easement. We believe the developer has no problem with that easement.
Yes.
Planning board did not include the easement because it wasn't included in the original plan, but it doesn't sound like there's opposition to that
No, they
easement.
didn't have an issue with it either.
Okay.
No.
Then the reason I ask all that is because we have an article around authorizing us to sell the land, and it's sort of not so important if we can't access the land for anything that would be commercial, so, okay. Because then so as long as we can represent, that's where we're going with it, that's fine, okay.
Okay.
So I think that is something that we want to,
Absolutely,
So-
absolutely, yeah.
I don't know if you need more instruction than that from us, but
No, we're moving forward on it.
Well, and I think too, something that was brought to my attention regarding that we'll call Hinckley North, is if someone wanted to come buy that from us, one of the neighbors wanted to buy it from us right now, they couldn't, because we can't sell it to them.
Right,
That's why at town
right.
meeting, it's imperative that we at least activate that piece of land to go from a lease to a for sale, and
Yeah.
then put it out for an RFP, and if the 3-4 neighbors wanna say, you know what, we wanna buy that, and we'll respond to an RFP, they
Yeah.
can buy that and keep it as open space, and, you know, will it be done legally.
Assuming the price was good enough that we think it's in the interest of the town.
Well,
so-
yeah, absolutely. Fair comment. And other than that, I think we're good. Anything else, Christine?
No, I think that's it. We're actually getting ready for the warrant committee at 7 o'clock, so
Okay.
this is perfect time to adjourn.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.